Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast, episode 34. Hunter Keister back with
Curtis Maki. Let's get it.
Here we go. Another Wednesday night podcast for you guys. Going to be diving into week 2 NFL starting off Thursday night. But Kurt, let's start with a little bit of week 1. What is your one-word reaction to week 1?
Wow. Week 1 had a lot of crazy games, close games, unexpected wins, and some expected losses as well. That's how I define it. Yeah,
definitely some crazy games. Some games that, were good on paper and ended up being pretty bad, aka a lot of the 4 o'clock games and a lot of the 1 o'clock matchups that were supposed to be the worser of the two ended up
being dynamite.
Yeah, ended up all being almost every game during that 1 o'clock time frame ended up being a really good game. So it made for some interesting matchups and some shocking wins, shocking losses, and just shocking games in general. But we'll dive into week 2 now, as we will start with the Chargers and the Chiefs that headline Thursday Night Football tomorrow night. What a matchup for the second Thursday night game.
Great matchup. There's a reason they put this on Thursday night for week 2. Looking at the rest of the games, not as good, favorable matchups, quote unquote, at least on paper. But they put on a good game for tomorrow night. Looking for a lot of offense here. Chiefs at home. I expect them to win this game. They looked really good week 1 against Arizona. Believe they won 44-20 something. I mean, they just spanked the Cardinals. Mahomes was looking good. 5 touchdowns for him. Looked like the prototypical Chiefs. I think they'll pull off a good game tomorrow. A good win for them. No Keenan Allen. That's a loss for the Chargers for sure. Really good receiver. And expect the Chiefs to pull off another win.
Nice. Yeah, as I look at this matchup, the Chiefs and the Chargers. The Chiefs, I mean, they both played well in their own right. I mean, the Chargers kind of escaped the Raiders' last-second hopes to win.
Khalil Mack.
Sack. Yeah, Khalil Mack really got after it, and they escaped with a win, but Kansas City looks like dynamite. I mean, Mahomes 5 touchdowns, 360 yards already, 120 receiving yards for Travis Kelce, and they're already in mid-season form in week 1. Keenan Allen is an incredible loss and will sway my opinion in the favor of the Chiefs, as I think this game is really close regardless, but I think that not having Keenan Allen for the Chargers will just be a little bit too much for them to overcome in week 2, and I think the Chiefs probably win this game. I'm going to say no more than 10 points.
Yeah, I like 31-21. I think the Chargers can hang in this. Herbert's going to have to play great, though. He's going to have to play great, and that Chargers defense is going to have to play really good tomorrow for them to win that game.
I'm going to say 28-21 Chiefs.
Jets, Browns?
Yep, Jets, Browns, and a little bit of a stinker fest to start off the Sunday 1 o'clock games. But who knows, maybe it'll follow suit from last week and they'll end up being good games. But Flacco, of course, threw it almost 60 times in the week 1 loss.
Holy smokes.
That's insane. 37 of 59 for 300 yards and a touchdown. That is a terrible stat line given the circumstances. Chubb rushed for 141 yards on 22 carries. He proves he's elite, but Kareem Hunt also had a great game for Cleveland.
2 tutties.
As he probably looks to up his trade stock and hopes to get traded, I would imagine, so he can be a true number 1. Because it does look like Nick Chubb will get a majority of that workload, as he should. He's very good, but it just sucks that Kareem Hunt has to sit the sideline and be this good and almost wasted.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing for them.
Yeah, but it's bad for
They get to split them so they stay fresh. Cleveland comes off of a game-winning field goal last week. Very controversial, though. some plays in there against Carolina. That play with Jacoby Brissett should have been actually intentional grounding when he spiked the ball to kick a field goal.
Yep.
As well as there was another play. What was it? Oh, the roughing the passer on Brian Burns that was very controversial.
Yeah.
It looked like Brissett's head, his helmet, got hit by Burns. It was actually his own player hitting him, and they gave them a flag for that. But there's calls every week, so you can't just.
You can't blame them, and the Browns get calls against them all the time.
Oh yeah.
It comes and goes in this sports league, and people that, I don't blame Panthers fans if you want to say like those calls are BS or whatever, but if you're gonna blame the entire game, like Baker looked like garbage for 95% of this game.
3/4 of that game.
You cannot tell me that 2 plays. I get their garbage calls and they still went the other way. That's football. It happens. Trust me.
It happens to everyone.
Trust me. It happens. Trust me. But Baker Mayfield just did not deserve to win this game. I mean, he looked bad, like Kurt said, for 3 quarters.
He played great in the fourth.
Got it together in the fourth to give the Panthers a good chance. But you can't leave the game down to the rest. And they left it down to the rest, and they end up losing a controversial game. But in reality, you had to play better the first 3 quarters if you want to win a football game. And Baker tried to come in and save it in the fourth, as he was practically getting booed off his home field at halftime. Mm-hmm. So, and to continue his bad play in the third quarter, he kind of finally snapped it together and said, "Hey, I have to get it going before I lose the starting job in week 1," because that could have been a really possible scenario. Given Darnold returned at some point, and Baker looking bad, who knows? But the Browns get the win. They play the Jets. Like I mentioned, they did suffer a loss in a game that Flacco threw.
They hung around in there, but Lamar got going, got some big play touchdowns to Devin Duvernay, and that was about that.
Yep.
That's what I expected. I knew they'd get going. That defense pretty much stifled the Jets, really.
Yeah.
And so for Browns-Jets, I'm definitely going to go pick the Cleveland Browns to win. Maybe a close game, but I like probably 21-10.
I do also.
I like Cleveland here.
Want to favor the Browns, because I just don't think Flacco has enough firepower. He's old. I mean, if you got to throw the ball 60 times and you still lose to you're losing the Ravens, I mean, they're not an easy team to beat by any stretch. I mean, but just the fact that you're throwing it 60 times, and that must mean you have that much leash of a run game.
1 touchdown. That's not good.
Yeah, that's not good at all neither for that stat line. So I will take the Browns. I don't think this game is close at all. I'm going to say like 28-14 might be the closest it gets. But I do think the Browns win by probably 2 scores at least. Ford Field, the Lions, they play the Commanders. The Lions come off a tough loss. Almost the same fate, as they looked pretty bad for a majority of this game, and then got it back going late and end up falling short.
I believe it was 38-35.
Yeah.
Detroit, their defense looked pitiful, though. We'll say that. They missed a lot of sacks on Jalen Hurts. They allowed 4 rushing touchdowns by 4 different backs, 4 different scorers.
Yeah, that was insane.
So, Detroit, Washington. Detroit's offense eventually got going. They actually were able to run the ball really good with DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, he ended up with 144 yards and a touchdown on 15 carries. That's really good.
Yeah, for sure. So, Washington wins. Played pretty good last week against Jacksonville. They did pull off a close win.
Still threw it 41 times, though. That's insane.
Who threw it 41 times?
Carson Wentz.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson out of Penn State, had a couple of touchdowns. Curtis Samuel is a bit of a dual threat, receiving and rushing. So, low-key, they have some weapons.
I would say they got a decent offense. It really is just going to hinge on how well Carson Wentz played down the season. But he starts off week 1.
I mean, no pun intended, but if Wentz can command them, I mean, they got a low-key decent offense. But I'm going to pick Washington here to win. Probably another close loss for Detroit, though.
Wow. I like the Lions in this one. I do think it's a close game. I can't pick and side with Carson Wentz in close games, man. I don't think he's got it, and I would love to be proven wrong. I mean, he looked very well in week 1. I'll give him that, but
played really good.
I think that Swift and the momentum of the 144 off his game, and I think, if Goff looked a little better and round out his game to kind of match how they looked in the 4th and make it a more complete game, I think they have a really good chance of beating the Commanders. So I think I will pick the Lions, but I do think this is at least probably a touchdown.
I think it will be a close game.
Probably a touchdown game at most. Maybe 10 points, but probably touchdown. Probably a close back and forth game. And I think it'll probably come down to one of the last couple possessions. But I will side with Detroit in week 2. And I'll give them 24-21.
I'm going 23-20 Washington.
Bucks, Saints, both pick up wins. This is a great matchup for week 2.
One of the biggest games this week.
Yeah,
one of the biggest games.
This is definitely probably the highlight matchup other than the Chiefs Chargers. But for Sunday's football speaking, this has to be the highlight matchup. Both teams 1-0. The Saints coming off a game-winning field goal against Atlanta, and the Bucks dismantling the Cowboys. Who would have thought? Saints Bucks though. Brady's kryptonite.
Yes.
Doesn't really play too well against the Saints. Jameis Winston, just looking over his stats, he goes 23-34 for 269 and 2 touchdowns. Fournette runs very well, 21 for 127. Doesn't score though. Doesn't need to, I guess, as the Bucs just looked very well offensively. And Jarvis Landry, a 7-reception, 114 game in his debut for the Saints. What a stellar performance. And if he can look good and Michael Thomas stays healthy, and they got guys like Olave and
Kamara.
Yeah, Kamara. That's a really good offense. That is a really stellar offense. But the Bucs have a good offense of their own, so this should be. I'm predicting a shootout here. I think it'll be high scoring. And as it sits right now, I think I will go 31-27 Saints over the Bucs in week 2.
Wow. So looking back just to how they both played last week, Saints with a comeback win. Winston didn't look too good through 3 quarters versus Atlanta. They come back, pull the win off. Tampa Bay controlled the entire game last Sunday night against Dallas. Even when Dak was in there, they had him hesitant. He looked incredibly hesitant. So, Bucs defense played good. Their offense did all right last week. Only scored 19, but if your defense allows 3, hey, who cares? For this game, I am picking the Saints to win in a lower scoring type of game. Chris Godwin actually got hurt last week. I knew he was a game time decision leading up to that game, and I don't like that. I know these players they want to play, but I feel like sometimes just for the better of the season and just actually playing, they need to sit down for a minute and just realize, it's only one game. If you're good to go the next week, why not wait?
Yeah.
But Chris Godwin ultimately suffered another injury last weekend, which is big to that offense. Julio did look really good for them. I think he'll actually, if he stays healthy, I think people are sleeping on Julio this year. I'm not even gonna lie. He had a great catch last week, a big bomb from Brady. But for this game, I like the Saints 21-17. The Saints defense didn't play. They played all right last week, but I definitely think they could have played better against Mariota and that Atlanta offense.
Yeah, I think so too.
And they do play really good against the Bucs. They actually shut out Brady last season for the first time that's ever been done to him in a very long time. I expect them to play better this week defensively, and I expect Tampa's defense to play just about as good as they did last Sunday. So I'm picking the Saints here to win. I think they'll pull off a win, which should be huge for them at the division game. They're 2-0 division if they win. So I'm taking the Saints here in a lower scoring game.
Nice. Moving on to the Panthers versus the Giants. This has an intriguing matchup here. Baker probably has a sour taste in his mouth. Knows he has to come out better. Anderson had 5 receptions for 100 yards. That's a good game. Saquon Barkley has reawakened. Yes. 18 for 164 and a touchdown. And I think that continues. I think that he will hopefully not get injured and be
I hope so.
one of the bright spots in this Giants offense, because we know it's definitely not going to come from Daniel Jones.
So who you got in this matchup?
I'm thinking about it, and really,
Giants pulled off a stunning upset week 1. I think it was 21-20 over the Titans last week.
Yeah, that was a crazy.
I think probably the whole country got that one wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
Anybody that bet odds or play gambles, I definitely think
unless you're a Giants fan, I guarantee you lost money on this bet.
100%. The Giants.
Nobody in their right mind would have taken the Giants, knowing what we know about these two teams.
Yeah.
But the Giants pull it out for this matchup. Oh, it's real close.
I'm picking the Giants to win here. I ain't gonna lie.
Close.
I think their defense played really good last week, and I think their defense is better than what people think it is. I think Saquon has another good game, and maybe Daniel Jones actually has a decent game.
Yeah,
maybe he has a good game. I like Baker, but I'm picking the Giants here to keep rolling. Picking the Giants.
Yeah, I think.
I say like 20-13, maybe 20-14.
Yeah, thinking about it, I'm gonna go with the safer pick in Barkley and Daniel Jones over Baker and McCaffrey. I just think that if I'm looking at these two teams, I think that the offenses stack up well. I think that Barkley and CMC, especially right now, we're really close.
They got to get CMC going though. Last week he didn't do too much.
But I think that Saquon having the game that he did versus CMC not really doing much.
Yeah.
I think that Barkley will start off better, and I think that will ultimately lead to a Giants win. And I think I will take a 20-17. I think it's pretty low scoring.
Yeah.
Pretty close, neck and neck. I could definitely see Baker pulling something out and winning this with the last second touchdown. But if I'm going against odds, I gotta take Barkley, and Daniel Jones is probably the safer pick. If you're betting against them both, average, painfully average. But I'll take the Giants on this one.
All right. What's the next matchup?
Steelers, Pats. Take it away.
Oh boy. Steelers versus Patriots. Pittsburgh opening at home. Week 2. Coming off of a very big Week 1 win. Defense won Pittsburgh that game. That's all I'm going to say there. No TJ Watt. That's very concerning. He's not out for the season. He'll be back by the bye week, about 6 weeks from now. Ooh.
Really
a lot of people are picking this game to be kind of a landslide, which I don't understand.
Right.
I'm not sleeping on Bill Belichick. I believe Mac Jones suffered a back injury last week. I'm not sure if he'll be out this week or not. They haven't really... It usually takes them a minute to really get out the injury reports.
That would be massive, though, for the Patriots if Mac Jones couldn't play.
That would suck.
Yeah.
A lot of teams did suffer injuries week 1, so that's unfortunate. So Pittsburgh coming off a week 1 win. Patriots coming off a week 1 loss versus Miami. I'm taking Pittsburgh in a close game. Will their offense look better? Maybe. I hope so. Otherwise,
could be a long
season
day.
Could be long. You can't get much worse than last week.
Yeah.
I don't see Pittsburgh replicating another crazy turnover game. Maybe 2 at best, because Bill Belichick will have. He'll come in with a great game plan. I expect that. He always coaches good. Bill Belichick always does good against the Steelers. Just how it is. I'm taking Pittsburgh. I'll say 21-17. Close game though. Very close game.
Yeah, that Mac Jones injury really sways my opinion in the favor of the Steelers, regardless of their injuries. I do think that the Steelers right now, that defense is miles and way better than the Patriots offense, especially if they didn't have Mac Jones. But even with Mac Jones, I just think that there's not enough weapons for him to realistically be able to move the ball consistently against the Steelers defense, who looked tremendous last week against an even better Bengals team. So who knows how they could look against the Patriots.
They could have a great week 1 game and then just
they could
come out flat week 2.
Yep.
It's happened.
They could have used their entire magic for that one, just to get that one out of the way, and then they might come out.
A big game to get up and a big game to get let down.
Yeah, they might just come out and almost flat because they don't have anything left. Who knows? Right now, my prediction could change, but the Mac Jones, him not being 100% or possibly not even playing, really just gives me
that definitely has a large impact on a lot of things. I think Brian Hoyer's their backup, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, jeez.
He's had some game time experience.
Yeah.
But
he's at least not a brand new backup, but
I'm not sure how severe that injury is on Mac Jones, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
I feel like they would have talked about it some more.
Yeah. If it was more severe, I definitely feel like it would have been something more talked about. But still, I mean, because that could linger into this next game.
Yeah.
Especially with how well our pass rush is. I know TJ won't be there, but still, 7 sacks last week is still 7 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, TJ wasn't in favor of all those 7 sacks. I mean, I'm sure he
influenced some of them just because the line would slide your way, but still 7 sacks, still a lot. But Pittsburgh, I'll take them in a close game, 21-17.
Yeah, that's definitely
not sleeping on New England.
That changes the complexion for the Patriots too, not having the game plan for TJ Watt.
100%.
But I also do like Pittsburgh. I'm gonna go probably 23-21.
Ooh.
23-21 Pittsburgh. I hate their offense. I hate their offense too with the pass, and I think that could realistically kill the Steelers. Once again, having a tremendous, usually it's what it was always tremendous offense, average defense, and now it's tremendous defense and really, really, really bad offense. I won't write off Trubisky just yet. I'll give him a little bit more time. But man,
I can already imagine if he has a bad half, the chance will come in for Kenny Pickett.
Yeah,
I can
definitely see that because he as a player did not deserve to win that Week 1 game. He was just the beneficiary of a stellar defensive performance.
Yep.
But like Kurt mentioned, one more bad half of football, and I could realistically hear them Kenny Pickett chance coming. Because if you're gonna suck in the offense with Trubisky, why not play Pickett? He's younger.
Yeah.
He had the upside there. He's at least newer. If you're gonna be as terrible as they were last week, obviously I'm not taking away from the Bengals at all because they're great in their own right and they had their own chances to win that game and they just messed them up. But
bungled.
I still do think that Pittsburgh's offense could be their, obviously be their Achilles heel, but it could also cost them a lot of success this season. Mm-hmm. But I do think they will find a way to get it done in Week 2. But that offense is definitely a concerning point, especially if Najee can't stay healthy because he's their one bright spot.
Yeah, he suffered an injury last week, real late into the game. His leg got bent underneath a couple of tacklers. He didn't look too good anyways, which in his own right wasn't his fault. That line was not blocking for him, let me tell you that right now. He also looked really rusty, only playing a little bit in the preseason. Still had a Lisfranc foot injury that lingered in. Was not a fan of us even playing him, knowing that injury could still linger. He might be good for this week, but I feel like they need to sit him a few weeks. But let's move on to the next game.
Yeah, fair enough. Colts Jags getting into another 1 o'clock matchup. This is a good one. Trevor Lawrence, Matt Ryan coming off of a tie.
We got to know right now. Is this game in Jacksonville?
This game is in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah. I'm picking the Jags.
Wow. Just like that. Matt Ryan throws for 50 times, 350 yards, only 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, 31 carries. Now that is a recipe to get him injured. 30 carries already. I get he's one of the best running backs in football. Mm-hmm. But that is absolutely insane for him to have that much workload. But it seems to me if they could run the ball 31 times and pass 50, they must have just been on the field quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And to only come away with 20 points off that, that is pretty pitiful if you ask me. Pittman had a great game, 9 receptions, 121 yards and a touchdown. But you just, a tie and 20 points, the Texans, it's just...
Yeah, they come off a tie last week, trailing most of that game versus Houston. Houston played great. Yeah, that's too many. I understand he's your best player, but that's so many touches for what's going to be a long season, 18 weeks.
Exactly.
He's your best player. Put Naeem Hines in there. I know he got in there a little bit, but man, you gotta spread the ball around. You got other players in there.
I think that 31 should be right around 20 to 25.
25's cool.
Yep.
25's cool.
But
30's too much.
Those extra carries will be the reason they
and not even for a win.
Yeah, just a tie.
And they cut their kicker today. If I'm not mistaken, I think both of their kickers missed potential game-winning field goals last Sunday.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'm picking the Jags here to win because the Colts have not beaten the Jags in Jacksonville since 2014. Jags coming off of a very good game for them last week.
Wow, that's insane.
Christian Kirk had a big day. Lawrence looked pretty all right. Travon Walker, the number one overall draft pick, played really good last week for them. So I'm taking the Jags here with an upset win. I think Colts start out 0-1-1. I'm picking Jags 20-17.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that Jacksonville stat from 2014 is really hard to argue with, considering it's almost 10 years old now. They haven't won in Jacksonville.
It's insane.
That's absolutely insane. So that sways my thing in favor of the Jacksonville. But I like Jacksonville because of that. But I like the Colts overall team better. I think
for sure.
Their defense is definitely better. It's just going to come down to Matt Ryan. Like, you cannot throw the ball 50 times to come up with one touchdown.
No.
He needs to put up more points.
You got to think, though, again, with, like, Trubisky and Mariota, some of these are quarterbacks, it's a whole new team, whole new scheme. It might just take some quarterbacks a couple weeks to get settled in.
That's definitely fair. That's a fair assumption.
Whole new team from Atlanta to Indianapolis. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he didn't have him last year, so
right.
Just a lot of changes. It takes time.
Absolutely. But I do think the Jacksonville Jaguars pull this one out in a lowest scoring 17-14 win.
Yeah, it's the only way they can win. They won't be able to win in a shootout.
Yeah, no,
if Taylor's running wild on them, they will not be able to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely have to try to bottle up Taylor, because if he gets going, it's going to be a long day.
What's the next game?
Baltimore, Miami. That's a very interesting matchup in Baltimore. Very interesting matchup. Tua throws 23 of 33 for 270 and a touchdown. Tyreek had just shy of 100 yards, 8 for 94. And Kenyon Drake only got 31 yards rushing for Baltimore last week in their win. So this sets up a good matchup.
This is low-key a good game.
Yeah.
Low-key a really good game. I do remember these two teams played last year on a Thursday night, and Baltimore actually lost because Lamar Jackson did not know how to stop mid-blitz. You know that play I'm talking about, where you have, I think it's the linebackers in the A-gaps next to the center, and then you send out just an all-out blitz. Yeah, that play worked on Lamar that game when they played exclusively. He could not defend against it. So
he had to put enough Madden.
Yeah, like literally they ran that play almost every time, and it gave Lamar a lot of frustrations.
Made it read difficult or more difficult than they would have been.
The pressure got there so quick, he didn't know how to react. Yeah. And those gaps were filled. So this is actually a really good game. Wow, Baltimore-Miami. Baltimore comes off of a good win. Miami with a good win as well. So 1-0 versus 1-0. I'm taking Baltimore to win here. I think Tua's going to struggle against that Ravens defense.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about Mike McDonald being there. And
I got a close game, though.
Yeah, this will definitely
I'm picking 24-20, Baltimore win.
Wow. I like it. I also was going to rule in favor of the Ravens. I think the Dolphins showed potential and showed they can be a really good team and probably contend for their division. But I think the Ravens, they got a good offense with good weapons. Their defense, Miami's defense does match up well. But I just think that where it's going to come in and where it's really going to come down to is that Baltimore Ravens defense being able to do whatever they want against Tua. I mean, call it what you want, but I saw Mike McDonald give everybody fits last year for Michigan, and he's 1-0 already. Their defense didn't look too bad last week, and I think they are able to frustrate Tua.
I think Tua might have a bad turnover in a key moment.
But with the weapons that Miami now has, the Ravens really don't have the corners to cover all of them. So that could be a really interesting how McDonald could scheme that up, knowing that. But I will take the Ravens. And I also like something close to that. Maybe like 24-21.
All right.
Falcons-Rams. 4:05. Starting off the 4 o'clock games. On Sunday, we got the Rams taking on the Falcons in Inglewood, SoFi Stadium, California.
Yeah, no question here for me.
This game's not even close.
Rams with a bad Week 1 performance versus the Buffalo Bills. I do believe they bounce back here. I do not see Mariota pulling off some upset. Again, I don't see the Rams defense playing that bad again. I don't see it. This isn't Josh Allen. This is Marcus Mariota. I see Matthew Stafford bouncing back with a way better Week 2 game. I look for them to run the ball better with Darrell Henderson, and I'm picking the Rams here 24-7. 24-7 for me.
Yeah, I do not think this game is close in the slightest. I think that the Rams do rebound. I think that Stafford plays a little better. I mean, 29 for 41 isn't bad for 240, but a lot of these quarterbacks just didn't put up enough touchdowns, quite frankly. I mean, Cooper Kupp, another amazing game. He's picked up right where he left off. He'll have another stellar year. He's in his own world right now. 13 for 128 in the touchdown. Cordero Patterson continues his stellar season with a nice 120-yard, 22-carry Week 1 performance in their close loss to the Saints. The Falcons were right there a week ago. I don't think it'll be nearly that close. No. I'm going to pick 27-10. 27-10 Rams beat the Falcons. Another divisional rivalry matchup. Niners, Seahawks, not as good as it has been in years past with Russell Wilson and Garoppolo, seeing that it will now be Trey Lance and Geno Smith. Geno Smith comes out from their Monday night game against Denver, and he looked incredible. 23 of 28 for 195 and 2 touchdowns.
He played great that night.
He played absolutely incredible. Rashad Penny's got her. Is it Rashad? I don't know. Penny. Yeah. 12 carries for 60 yards. Got her on the ball better though. If you want to win these types of games, and the best receiver for San Fran only having 62 yards is alarming. I know Debo played a lot of snaps at running back with Elijah Mitchell going out, and that's concerning for me because I own Debo Samuel in fantasy, and I believe that kind of hurts his potential scoring opportunities.
Well, the biggest reason why a lot of these Niners didn't perform too well, I don't know if you knew this. Last Sunday when they went to Chicago, it was literally a water park there.
It was a Toronto, yeah, I didn't.
40-mile-per-hour winds, and that turf was literally like a slip and slide. The rain was absolutely terrible. It was a rainstorm. It was a windy rainstorm that entire game. It was horrible conditions to play in.
That game
so a very nasty game.
That game would have been terrible for the fans to watch.
Oh yeah, they had I saw a video clip of a fan with a box of popcorn, and all you could see was water coming from off the stadium, all through the bucket of popcorn.
Yeah.
It was a very nasty game. So yeah, the Niners coming off of a loss, Week 1 to the Bears. Not a good look. They lost 20-10.
But it's hard to judge when you got a game like that. Obviously, you have to know how to play in the elements. It's a part of the game of football. But you can't really game plan for a monsoon.
No.
So I don't. But this matchup's interesting, especially with Geno Smith looking as good as he did, and the offense looking pretty decent for Seattle. And the Niners offense obviously struggled. Obviously, give the excuses that you want, but I think I will honestly take the Niners to rebound. I like their chances, and if the weather's fair, I like their chances with that offense to get going with Trey Lance, and I think I will take a 28-21 Niners victory.
Yeah, with Seattle coming off a big Week 1 upset Monday night against Denver, Russ, their former teammate. Seattle playing at home. They got a huge win, 17-16. For week 2, they go to San Francisco, and I believe the Niners will pull off a win here for their home opener. I see a really close game, more low scoring. I got 21-14, 49ers pulling off their first win.
Nice.
I don't see Geno playing as good this week. He played really good last week.
Really hard for him.
They did get shut out in the second half, but they got the win. But I don't see Geno Smith playing that good again. He played phenomenal.
Yeah.
I watched that game. He played. He didn't play like Geno Smith. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
So let's move on to the next game.
We got the Bengals taking on the Cowboys. Key injuries for both teams. 4:25 matchup in AT&T Stadium in Texas. And Cooper Rush, presumably going to be Dallas' starter, while Dak injures his thumb on a high five to a Buccaneers helmet.
Yeah.
Tough break for the Cowboys. Just how everything played out with Dak getting injured, and now more than likely going to miss half of this season. It's a bad look and kind of proves Jerry Jones right on not wanting to pay him so fast all that money, because now he's been paid and now he will miss presumably half the season, close to it at least.
Yeah, they're looking at probably about 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah, so that's
best case scenario they said was maybe 3 or 4, but even then,
that would be
don't rush.
Yep.
You got the whole season, and in that division, I understand Philly got better, but you still might have a chance to hang around. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. I do, with the injuries, like the Bengals to rebound off their loss. I think that Burrow was just terrified and petrified the whole game. Damn, Jamar Chase did y'all in though. I did not even know that. I did not know that. 10 for 129.
Yeah,
I did not know he did.
Jamar Chase.
I did not know he did do guys like that.
I will say this: he played phenomenal last week. And a lot of those plays he got, was just great. He was good defense.
Just made better plays.
There was a catch he made that was ruled not a touchdown because he didn't get his feet in.
I seen it.
No, not that one.
Oh no.
Not the one they counted the one. There was another touchdown that he could have gotten, but he got his toes barely were out of bounds. That was just fun. It was a one-handed phenomenal catch. It was. There will be no year 2 slump for that man. Let me tell you that right now. Him and Burrow will be A-okay.
Yep. I think that offense struggled on the basis of Pittsburgh's phenomenal defense, and I don't think that it will happen again. And I think Cooper Rush's first game doesn't go his favor in the slightest. I like a 24-7 Bengals win.
Yeah, with Dallas coming off of a bad Week 1 performance by their offense, basically. The defense held in there.
Yeah.
Even got a interception off of Brady. Pretty much, they did the best they could do, really, against the Bucs offense. Michael Parsons with 2 sacks. He is, you want to talk about speed.
Michael Parsons.
His speed is, coming off that edge, his speed is something else.
Yep.
I like the Cowboys' defense to play good again this week. It's just I have questions about that offense. Honestly, Cooper Rush did play last season for 1 game, heading up against the Vikings and pulled off a win. I don't see that again this Sunday though. I think the Bengals bounce back. I think the Bengals defense will. I think they'll keep Cooper Rush in check. I don't. He's a backup. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He might play all right, but for them to really compete with Cincinnati, they're going to need to put up points and have a couple of turnovers on defense for them to have any chance. And I don't see Burrow turning it over like last week. No way. No way. Maybe they'll get some sacks on him just because the offensive line is still trying to get into a rhythm with all the new starters they got. So maybe Parsons will have a sack or 2. But I see the Bengals ultimately winning 24-10. I like them with a 2-score win. And if it's close at all, eek.
That shows a
Maybe
lot.
Cooper Rush played the game of his life, but
that'll probably show a lot about the Bengals, what is in store for them this season, if this game is close. I mean, you got a backup quarterback. You're coming off a heartbreaking loss. You know Burrow's going to be fired up off that. You know how bad he probably wanted to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off, probably hearing about the Super Bowl hangover, BS, all the offseason, and then to come out and lose a heartbreaker like that against your arch rival, I think that's going to light a fire under him.
Yeah.
And I think that he comes out with a vengeance in week 2, and I think he takes it to the Cowboys.
For sure.
We will move on to now the Texans and Broncos. Texans obviously tie in their week 1 game, and the Broncos suffer a heartbreaker.
Yeah. Broncos, they that first half, they really did not play too good. Their defense really shocked me with how bad they played. So many broken coverages, so many easy throws for Geno Smith. Russ, they didn't really even let Russ throw the ball until the second half, which I questioned. And they got to stop with the 2 backfield bullcrap with Javonte and Melvin Gordon. Javonte Williams is far superior to Melvin Gordon with his touches.
It is insane to me how much Melvin Gordon just fell off a cliff. Like, he was the man with the Chargers.
Yes.
And the way that he goes to the Broncos and then literally just falls off a cliff. He's
all right.
He was in with a three-headed backfield of what? Philip Lindsay, him, and was it just him and Lindsay, or was it somebody else?
Yeah, I think so.
Regardless, my point being is he should, like, Melvin Gordon should beat out Philip Lindsay 10 times out of 10 for the majority starter. Mm-hmm. And I think at this point, there's no reason he needs to play. Javonte Williams he's that guy. He should be a 1, a solo 1. Melvin Gordon, maybe play him in the goal line, but realistically, I mean,
I'll like him to come in when Javonte needs a break.
It's a good change of pace, but he definitely shouldn't eat up a whole lot of carries. I think that Javonte should play a majority.
So, I really think Denver lost that game. I mean, Seattle played good for sure, but Seattle didn't even score in the second half at all. Denver definitely lost that game the second half more than Seattle won it, but still, that's how games go.
Yeah.
They completely mismanaged that last drive, kicking that field goal from 64 yards. That's just 4th and 5. You got to go for it.
Especially
you got to go for
64, like, you know your kicker's not, like, that is nobody's done it before.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Tucker hit a game winner last year against Detroit that I think was the record, maybe 66, but that's indoors. That's different.
Okay, let me rephrase by saying anybody but Justin Tucker.
Yeah, anybody but arguably the greatest kicker in NFL history.
Yeah.
But for this game,
this is an interesting matchup.
Yeah, for this game, Broncos Texans. You know, I'm picking Russell Wilson to get a big first home win. I do believe Houston hangs around, but I don't see Denver's defense playing this bad again. I don't think they'll make Davis Mills look like the second coming of Peyton Manning. So I think Houston will hang around, though. Their defense played surprisingly well last week against Matt Ryan. Not so much Jonathan Taylor, but I think Denver gets a win here. And I feel like Russ was just... I mean, that's a lot, though. Like we mentioned, new quarterback, new team. That's a lot to handle. Your very first game with your new team, going against your former team, a team you've been with your whole career, your former coach. A lot of emotions there, so... You know, maybe he was just overwhelmed. Maybe he was too emotional. He played pretty all right in the second half, but he also ran into some sacks. I still think I don't see the Broncos losing this game. I just don't see it. I got them winning. I'll say 24-14.
Yeah, I just like that. I like that Broncos overall team. The Texans surprised me though. I mean, they held their own against Matt Ryan, like Kurt said, not really against Jonathan Taylor. And I think that could set up Javonte Williams to have a monster game this week. But I also do agree with the fact that Russell Wilson probably just had a lot of emotion going in this game. Never playing anywhere else. In your first game...
I mean, yeah, where would that be? I bet he was so tempted to throw to his own team.
Yeah, your first game you have to go to your old stadium against your old team. Like, that is just a terrible scheduling thing for him to happen. So they lose a heartbreaker. But I think kind of the same with Joe Burrow. I think that Wilson recognizes that he didn't play the best, comes out hungry with a game that he probably believes he should have won. Mm-hmm. And I think that they take it to the Texans, who played well in their own right. But I just don't think the firepower is there like it is with the Broncos. So I will take them 24-13.
What's the next 4 o'clock game?
Cardinals, Raiders. Both teams 0-1. the Raiders playing in Vegas.
Okay.
Carr comes off a 22-37, 295 game. But realistically, stats don't do him justice. He played pretty dang bad, I would say.
Yeah.
From a general standpoint, I think that he could have looked a lot better against the Chargers.
I'm assuming you watched that game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to see any of that. That wasn't on our local channels. So, I'm going to pick the Raiders here to win. I know I picked them last week. It looked like it was a close game for most of it, but I didn't get to see any of it.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. Like I said, the Raiders defense played really well, but Derek Carr had some chances to win the game, and he threw, I want to say 3 picks. I don't know why he doesn't show that in the stats.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Raiders here for their first win. I mean, they didn't maybe they didn't play as good as they should have last week, but Arizona really played awful last week. They got the doors blown off them by the Chiefs.
Yeah, 3 picks for Carr.
3 picks for Carr. Wow, that's awful. Okay. Well, kudos to the Chargers defense then.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, no picks for Murray though in his Week 1 loss.
Yeah, but some of that was in garbage time.
Good point.
I'm just having a hard time. Like I mentioned last week, I'm having a hard time seeing the Cardinals push the ball offensively without DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me. I understand that Marquise Brown, Randall Moore's been injured. Is AJ Green even still a thing? I know he's there, but man, someone's got to step up.
Yeah,
Cowboy didn't play too good, but
nobody for
you got Zach Ertz, who's pretty all right. He's solid, but you need someone that puts fear to defenses, and there is nobody. The only guy on there is DeAndre. So, for me, I'm picking the Raiders here at home to win. I don't see that Cardinals defense hanging in with Devontae, Josh Jacobs, and Renfro.
Yeah, Devontae had a monster 10 for 141 game. He was definitely the bright spot in the Raiders offense Week 1. He looked incredible. Derek Carr and him had a very good connection already, and I think that will only get stronger as the season goes on. And like Kurt mentioned, I don't like the weapons the Cardinals have. I think they're setting Kyler Murray up for failure with the weapons that he has available right now. And not having Hopkins just only makes that so much worse. You know, James Conner,
I mean, he's all right. He's solid. He played really good for them last year, but
can't really have all right these days. You know, you really need somebody better than all right if you want to win big games.
I think it's just with DeAndre there that opens up everything for them. Yep. So I'm taking the Raiders here. I like them. You know, I like them to put some heat on. I like them 27-10.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. Derek Carr looked pitiful, absolutely pitiful last week. But it's Week 1. I won't write him off just yet either. And I'll say they get a win. I'll say they get a win. Yeah. I'll say they get a win. Adams looked really well. If Derek Carr can control the turnovers, I think that's what would have saved him last week, and I think that's what could save him this week. But if Derek Carr has another bad turnover game, this game could definitely stay close with the Cardinals offense still not being a slouch, but I definitely prefer the Raiders, so I will give them the edge. I think it's a little bit closer. I'll go 27-13. Into the Sunday games. We are now heading into the Sunday night game.
Okay.
The Bears-Packers. Lambeau Field. This matchup is just with the Packers offense being presumably average this year at best. It really killed the Packers in their matchups. The Bears are almost as equally as bad on offense. So it's in Lambeau Sunday night. I'm gonna pick the Packers. I think Rodgers rebounds. He still has no receivers. He might have to craft one himself.
Yeah, it seemed like it's been a common thing for Rodgers to start out Week 1 slowly. They did get throttled last year, Week 1 against the Saints. They didn't look too good against Minnesota last week. We picked the Vikings to win, so we were right on that one. Aaron Jones needed a lot of touches. A.J. Dillon had a decent game. I remember Christian Watson, the rookie receiver, having a wide open touchdown dropped right through his hands.
Oh, that's tough.
And he never seen a target after that. So,
Rodgers gave him his one chance, and
I don't know how you drop that, but it happens. It happens. I am picking Green Bay to win this game. I don't see them losing at home. Sunday Night Football, home opener. I do not see this being a loss for them. Bears won last week in a nasty game. That was probably more towards their favor, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's be honest. Their offense doesn't look too good. Their offense is going to be this year. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. So that favored them for sure. Them going up to Lambeau, and they're exiting Lambeau with a loss. They'll come out 1-1. Green Bay will be 1-1. Maybe they'll. I don't see Green Bay being held to 10 points again. I believe they only scored 10 points last week. I don't see it. Not again. Rodgers owns that division. He owns the Bears, like he said last year at their game. Maybe they'll make it close, but I got Green Bay winning 21-10. 21-10.
Yeah, give me somewhere around that. Give me 20-13.
Ooh, okay. Moving on to the double game edition Monday Night Football. Starting off with, I believe, is it Bills at Titans?
It is Bills at Titans.
Bills at Titans, all right. Titans coming off of a week 1 heartbreak for them. Close loss to the Giants, 21-20. Yikes.
I mean, Derek Henry has to play better. 21 for 82.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it's week 1, and a lot of these guys just have rust and not played, but
kudos to the Giants defense.
Yeah, to get the ball 21 times and be held.
There was a play I saw where somebody bodied Derrick Henry. Smashed. He got cracked. Like, somebody had him on their hit list. They're like, yo, we're getting him today.
Somebody brought that to me Monday because I did not watch that game at all. But
did you see the play?
Yes, I did end up looking it up. And Derrick Henry got smashed.
Yes.
Which you don't see happen at all. No. But Josh Allen here goes 26 of 31 for 297, 3 touchdowns. He's so good. He's so good.
He's nasty.
That offense is really good. I mean, Stephon goes for 8 for 122. The Titans, I mean, I think their offense will improve, but the Bills are just hard to pick against right now for me. And for that, I will take the Bills in this matchup. Probably 23-20.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you a little bit there. I'm going to go with the Bills coming out with a win. I'm going to say it's a close game, though. I do think Derrick Henry will have a better game, but Buffalo's defense is obviously good. Pretty good. So maybe they'll keep him contained. But I do like Tennessee to come out with a better showing. But still a loss, nonetheless. Bills 24, Tennessee 17.
Nice. Ending week 2 off. Eagles, Vikings in Philadelphia. Kirk Cousins last week, 23 of 32, 277, 2 touchdowns. Miles Sanders just shy of 100 yards on 13 carries and a touchdown. And Justin Jefferson took the absolute F over. 9 receptions, 184, 2 touchdowns. Incredible week 1 performance. As he says, Cooper Kupp, who? I'm number 1 now. Yeah. And he looks to prove that as they look to play Philadelphia. I think that this matchup favors the Vikings offensively, and that matchup, especially getting the ball to Justin Jefferson. I just don't think anybody on Philadelphia can cover him. And I think he could realistically damn near replicate those numbers he had from a week ago. But the Eagles are no slouch. Jalen Hurts played well. That running back committee that they had played really well when they all got opportunities. Miles Sanders obviously looked the best. This matchup is really, really close to me, I think. I like the Eagles' front 7. Their secondary is definitely a concern against the Vikings. Man. Then you got to think, how did the Viking defense look against Jalen Hurts and company? With A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had a monster game of his own. Does he replicate that against the Vikings? Who knows? Wow, that's a good matchup. I gotta think on that one for a minute.
All right, you think on that for a second. Philadelphia coming off a big Week 1 win for them, edged out against Detroit. The Eagles' defense did not play too well. They missed a lot of tackles, a lot of bad tackling. They got a good lead, but I mean, it's kind of weird because you get such a big lead and you're so afraid to play up in tight coverage that they're going to beat you over the top. So then you let everything underneath, and then teams come back on you because you let them drive down the field with so much underneath stuff, and then they score, but they take up so much clock. So it's really a weird circumstance how you play that, but nonetheless, they come out the win. Philadelphia's offense did play really good last week. A.J. Brown just bullied those Detroit corners. Too big, too physical for them. Jalen Hurts didn't even have any passing touchdowns, but he was very efficient running the ball, which we all know. If you don't know by now, he's a really good dual threat. He had a rushing touchdown, and that RPO play action is going to give a lot of teams problems. It's going to give a lot of teams issues. So, let's head over to the Vikings. They come out with a big Week 1 win. Justin Jefferson absolutely lit up the Packers. Not sure why they don't let Jair Alexander trail and follow him, but they didn't, which was stupid. If he's your best corner, let him play against them. But
could be Jair's choice to only want to play that side of the field.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but nonetheless, I am picking the Eagles to win this game. I got them winning. I'm going to go with 24-20. The Vikings defense played really good last week. I mean, what can you say? They played really good. Held the Packers to, I want to say, I don't know what it is, but I want to say below 10 points or 10 points. Maybe 13, but not a whole lot. I'm taking the Eagles here to win a close game, 27-20 probably. I don't see Kirk Cousins, to me, is 1 week he's great, the next he's not so great. When you depend on him, he can't come up big. I see the Eagles winning this game. I see them winning this game, and another solid day for Jalen Hurts and that offense.
Yeah, the more I've sat on, I think it's literally just going to come down to the good receivers versus the bad corners. On each side, you got A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson. And for this matchup, I'm actually going to go with the Vikings. I think that I do agree Kirk Cousins can be up and down most of the time, but I just think that Justin Jefferson is a force to be reckoned with, and I think that he will do what he has to propel the Vikings to a victory. I think that this game will be very close. I think that I will take a 24-21 Vikings win in Philadelphia. But this game could easily go the way of the Eagles, and I do like them as a team this year. But this is a very intriguing matchup with good spots.
So Jefferson for you just stays hot.
Yeah.
Keeps rolling.
Yep.
That's fair to say. He's
almost 200 yards.
He could take over. I mean, it's such a debate with those three: Kupp, Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams. It's such a debate.
Yeah.
You can really argue for anything. He could, because his numbers, when you look the past 2 years, they are actually better than Randy Moss's, which is insane. He could be crazy to say, but he could really take over that number one spot this year.
Yeah.
By the end of the year,
Yep.
which is insane. Well, like with Kupp and Devontae, it's crazy how good receivers are now. But
yep.
Hey, I get it, but it nonetheless should be a close, good game.
Yep. I like it. And that will do it for our Week 2 pick'em.
Mm-hmm.
A nice, decent slate of NFL games. Hopefully the trend continues with these games that look worse than they actually end up being. But, yeah. Week 2. Got our picks in. Let us know what you think about them, what you think of the games, what we said about your favorite team. If we're wrong, if we're right, let us know. We'd love to talk about it. And, yeah.
That'll do it.
Alrighty. Week 2 pick'em is in the books, and as you guys can
analysis.
we got some deep analysis, and yeah, that's week 2 for you. That'll be mostly what we plan on doing with our Wednesdays anyways, just getting into the NFL season. Episode 34 Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast is in the books. We hope you enjoyed. Let us know on our picks. Where we're wrong, where we're right, anything in between, how you feel about your favorite team and what they will do this season, this week. Just let us know, sound off. We'd love to debate with you guys. That's what we do, that's why we do it. And it was a good week. We will see you again on Friday night as we tackle the college football side of things.
Heck yeah.
But for our NFL podcast, this will do it. A nice hour-long, in-depth review of week 2. And we'll take it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And Hunter Keister.
K-Mac out.
We're out of here.